Alright, today we're doing some knife skills, and we're just gonna have fun trying a few things. If you guys are just starting out cooking or you're trying to get some basic skills, this is probably a good video for you. If you're already an expert, we'll move on. You probably won't learn very much. So we're gonna play with a chef knife today. Three types of chef knife. First one is a standard kind of Canadian Tire, 20 bucks. The other one's a $100 knife. Probably what you probably need to start, a fairly good knife, so good grip on it. Don't need to over put strength, but you need to have it solid in your hand. So get going. Very simple. What we're going to start with is make sure that we're cutting the ends of our onions, and we're going to practice cutting a few onions, and I'll show you some small little tricks. So very simple for the knives itself. Like you see, this one is a high quality knife. This is a gift from one of my friends, Michelle. So this one's about a $400 knife, so you gotta be very careful. Make sure you don't cut any bones with it, but it's really good for veggies and things. So first thing I'm gonna do with my onions, I'm gonna do a small little cuts. To allow me to do smaller pieces, I'm going for smaller 1/4-inch pieces. So we're gonna call it that fine chop. So we're doing some small 1/4-inch pieces, and we're gonna practice also holding the claws. You see with my right hand, I've got my fingers towards the inside, and I'm using this to guide my blade through it. So very slow motion, rocking motion. This will allow you to cut better. So what we're doing is making sure that when you start doing your knife skills, just go slow. Like you see the speed that I'm going right there. I'm going very slow, taking my time, and I make sure I get it right. And then once you get better at it, like anything else, you can go a bit faster. It's no need to go fast at the start, because if you do, you'll start making mistakes, and that becomes a bit dangerous. Eventually, if you get the right motions and you get going, you'll be going a lot faster. So if you're doing some meal prep, as an example, if you're doing meal prep that are lasting 2-3 hours plus, and you're doing something wrong, so learn a few tricks and make sure that you go a bit faster. So this one is a good way to cut this type of veggie right there. It's gonna be a lot faster. And then we're doing, generally when we're doing some meal prep cuts, we're using rough cuts, so we don't really care about the size so much. We're just trying to get our pieces cut so we can put in our recipes, put in our soup, put in our fried rice, or put in anything else. So we're looking at trying to get pieces almost the same size. So when you're looking at the chop and the size of the cube, a small cube is generally called a 1/4 by 1/4. That's like a bit smaller than the small fingers. And then medium cube is 1/2 inch, and large cube is 3/4 inch. So same thing with the carrots. You can do the cubes, you can do the rough cut, you do oblique, turn around. With the carrots, the longest thing it takes is generally to prep the carrots. So peel it. You can use the peeler both ways, and then try to cut your pieces in manageable size. So depending on what you're trying to do, little squares or anything else, then you can cut it in the 4-inch pieces, the width of the hand. If you're trying to do some julienne or some more smaller cuts, make sure you cut the first part flat so it's nice and solid on the ground, and you can cut the rest of the lines. This will allow you to work safely and making sure that you get all your cuts done. So if you're going for a julienne, is a very small little square. Basically, we're looking at an 8 by an 8. For an 8 by an 8, we're looking in size of 1.5 mil by 1.5 mil to 3 mil by 1.5 mil to 3 mil. This will allow you to do very small little squares. Keep in mind that if you're doing meal prep, you're most likely not going to do little squares like that. You're most likely just going to do the rough cuts, or the 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. If you're cutting 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, it's called a bâtonnet, and that's going to be a lot of the size that you'll see in stir fries and things like that, and it's very easy. If you're cutting something smaller just like this, that's called a beurnoise. So you're starting with julienne, and then you're cutting your julienne in small little squares. That's called a beurnoise, and you're doing the beurnoise most likely to put in a salsa or a presentation, but you don't use that often. I'm doing triangle on this one. It's almost like doing rough cuts. So you're basically rolling. You're rolling the carrots, and you're just doing small little triangles. It allows you to do same size pieces basically for any of your recipes. Keep in mind that the carrot takes the longest to cook, so you're always trying to get your sizes the same. This one is oblique cut. just another cut that you can do. Gives it a different look. If you're going to use it in other things, ragu or on a plates, that may be also better. So when we're looking at cutting herbs, parsley, whatever herbs you want to cut, no big deal. What you need to do is make sure you get all your herbs smashed together and get your claw on your holding ends right nice and tight, so you can do your rocking motion and get it as small as you can on the first pass. So that's called minting. You know, do it with really anything you want, and then you cut it. If you're not happy with the size and it's still too big, go to small rocking motion. You can do that fairly fast and just cut it a bit smaller. If you're looking at garlic, simplest thing, cut one end, crush it down, and you'll see it comes right apart. It's like magic, and then it's ready to go. So you can start cutting your piece and doing the same thing, rocking back and forth, and that'll give you a small little piece. So all of those little cuts, if you practice them fairly slow, once you're happy with the speed that you're going slow, and you're not hurting your fingers or you're not cutting anything, well then it's a lot easier to get it to the speed. So if you practice your knife skills, I can guarantee you'll save a lot of time in your meal prep, and you're probably going to enjoy cooking a lot more. Plus, it's kind of relaxing to do some cutting. So be careful on your fingers, and hopefully you guys have a good one, and thanks.